bike show. This is for the project, so hopefully I can pick up some tips from maybe people like Rachel or Gee Atherton, professionals in the field. It would be good for the project and also some good research. So I'm doing my first downhill race tomorrow. I was just wondering, when you were in that position, your first race, what were you thinking? What tips would you give?
Well, good luck. Yeah, I mean, first race you're obviously going to be nervous, but I would say just practice. You know, make sure that you know where you're going. Make sure that you know exactly what's coming up on the track. Practice really does make perfect. So just try and stay quite calm and just be really methodical. You know, make sure that you know exactly what's coming up and just try and have fun. I guess that's kind of the way to do it, I think.
Cool, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
It's quite sensitive for an airship, isn't it?
That's good, yeah. So in a few months' time, I'm doing the Passportes du Soleil as well.
Okay.
So long more riding. Just wondering, any advice you could give on that?
I think that's going to be a different challenge. You know, the downhill races, it's fast, it's short, it's over in a couple of minutes. But when an event like that it's all about being consistent again and again and for a long period of time. So, taking care of how you're riding, not getting exhausted, not blowing yourself up. Also riding well and riding smooth so the bike's not damaged and you don't end up doing half a stage. So it's going to be quite a balance.
Yeah, cool.
Best of luck there.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
First bike was ridden about 3 years ago, and then we've been spending some time hooking up with these guys to bring their expertise and their requirements in so that we can tailor a bike to really demanding specifications. And that goes into a furnace then for heat treatment, so it gets stress relieved. So the build plate drops down, and then the next 60 micrometers of titanium powder is melted by those layers. So what you see here, that's the chainstay yoke, that's the bottom bracket. Those are the support structures that are being started there to anchor those parts into the build plate to make them stable for the whole build. So it's about 3,500 layers from top to bottom, and the build process takes about 16 hours to complete. It goes to our facility where we bond the frame, and what we do here is we fill these cavities up from the bottom. We inject adhesive into the bottom. And we use then something called an insertion squeeze flow method. So we pass the tube into that cavity, and we witness then the adhesive being ejected around the circumference, and that gives us confidence about adhesive coverage.
So in a few months' time, I'm going to France to do the Passportes du Soleil, the event. I'm just wondering what sort of nutrition I should use.
Obviously, nutrition is quite a big part of any sport. It's something which, for the endurance sport, you really want to make sure you're getting enough sort of carbohydrates on board as well to make sure you get enough fuel and energy. This product range here is all to do with nitrate. So it's a supplement to supplement your carbohydrates, your proteins that are already in place. So we've got 3 different products here. Now what the beetroot does, which is quite unique, is it contains a molecule called nitrate. Nitrate is naturally found in there. It takes about an hour or 2 to get broken down in the body to nitric oxide. And nitric oxide helps to sort of vasodilate the blood vessels, so it's been shown to help transport more oxygen, more blood flow around the body to the working muscles. And one of the major effects is it helps to sort of delay the onset of fatigue. So you think you can exercise a little bit harder for longer. So when you usually start to feel tired, on the mountain bike, you can go for a little bit longer on the beetroot before you start to feel those fatigue. And it's a great thing to try in training as well. See how you get along with it. Like everything, there's a bit of a science behind it. So you've got to know, how much you need to have. Ideally, you want to have a shot's worth a day for about 3 to 6 days. In the days leading up to the race. Each shot has got 400 milligrams of nitrate, so you'd otherwise have to have about 6 to 8 whole beets or about half a litre of beet juice to get that much nitrate. So it's a bit more convenient, a bit more palatable, and so you take it for about 3 to 6 days before the event, and then you take your last shots about sort of 2 hours before you start really. So it's sort of pre-race drink. And then during the race, if you do take things like energy gels or things like that, that's great. Stick to that during. This stuff is more of a pre-race, sort of pre-race drink or supplement, really. So, yeah.